My name is Sari Dratch. Some of you may know me as Sari Bornstein. Many of you probably know me as both. Thank you so much for joining us tonight to pay tribute, share memories, and express our karsatov to Rabbi Kelemer Zechrono Livracha. I'm here tonight in a dual role as a West Hempstead community member, as well as the director of Yachad Long Island. For those of you that are new to Yachad, Yachad is an organization of the OU, which promotes inclusion for individuals with special needs by providing opportunities and Jewish experiences. Over the past year, we have shifted much of what we do to be virtual, I'm sure as many of us. We run over 35 programs a week virtually and are thrilled to have the opportunity actually to run 2 to 3 in-person programs a week for Yachad Long Island at our North Woodmere Center. Some of those programs include our Sunday Spectacular program, a weekly pizza and parsha program, monthly holiday boxes, at-home art kits, and lots of other fun and exciting things. As we continue to open up, we hope to be running many more in-person programs. We hope to continue growing the Long Island branch and providing more programs and opportunities for our members. And if you or someone you know could benefit from Yachad programming, please connect us. We would really love to meet you or them. We are so grateful and excited to be running a program with Young Israel West Hempstead. They've always been an amazing partner and support to Yachad, which began under the leadership of Rabbi Kelemer more than 36 years ago. The first ever Yachad event was hosted in this shul under the guidance of Rabbi Kelemer. Since then, Yachad has grown tremendously, not only within the West Hempstead community, which has numerous high school volunteers, advisors, staff members, but is now an international organization as well. Before we begin, I just want to thank a few people. Thank you to Gail and Benjamin Ryder and family for generously sponsoring tonight's program. Thank you, Rabbi Galler and Wendy, for helping coordinate this program and put it together. Thank you to the Yachad staff members who helped put this program together and worked really hard in making tonight really special. Many of these staff members actually live in West Hempstead. I'll just thank you, Avi Feder. Thank you, Deborah Rockoff. Thank you, Rafi Cooper. Thank you, Rachel Mendelson. Thank you, Rebecca Mayer. And thank you to everyone who will be speaking tonight. We're excited to hear what you have to share. Lastly, I really want to thank the West Hempstead community for always opening your doors to Yachad. Thank you to everyone who has hosted Yachad members for Shabbatons, everyone who has volunteered, staffed the program, gone on a Yachad summer program, or has donated to Yachad. Growing up in West Hempstead, I know that many of us have our own Rabbi Kelemer stories. And tonight we have the privilege and the opportunity of hearing memories and stories from some of our Yachad participants and community members. And tonight we'd like to pay tribute and express our karsatov to Rabbi Kelemer, who not only paved the path and gave so much to his community, but who always made room for all of Am Yisrael. And with that, I would be honored if I could ask Rabbi Galler to share a few words.
Thank you so much, Sari. Really, what a privilege to be here tonight. Welcome, everybody. It's really special to have all of you here. There are many things that I really miss about COVID that are said that we don't have. I think top 10, maybe top 5, even maybe top 3 could be missing out on having a Yachad Shabbaton in our shul in West Hempstead, because my favorite Shabbos of the entire year is Yachad Shabbatons. By personal admission, I always say, I'm an alum. I was a part of Yachad in high school. I was a advisor in college, and I've been involved with Yachad for many, many years. It's the most exciting Shabbos, and really fond memories for me really go back, I'm not going to say how many years, but a lot of years. And it's really a pleasure to be able to be here tonight. Thank you to Sari for working so hard to not just put tonight together, but to really make it a program which is sensitive and really recognizes the beautiful bond between not just our shul and community and Yachad, but also Rabbi Kelemer's role in really beginning Yachad's journey in coming into communities. I want to speak to that for just a few minutes, and I'm going to give the floor back to Sari, and so much appreciate the opportunity here. Every single year, when Yachad comes to the shul, I have the opportunity either to welcome them at a meal or maybe on a Friday night in some form or fashion. And I always say the same Devar Torah, not because I don't want to say something new, it's just simply because it fits so nicely for what Yachad's all about. And you'll see why I think the bridge between West Hempstead and Yachad is so strong. The letters Yachad, Yud, Ches, I wish I was in front of you guys today. You always deal out the last letter. It's Dalet. Yud, Ches, and Dalet means together, right, Alana? I can see Alana Talit there right in front of me. And if you take the letters of that word, Yachad, and change them around, you get a different word, which is the word Chadi. Now, while the word Chadi may mean nothing to many of you, but to me, it means a lot because I always used to notice when you go through the Targum Onkelos, which is the Aramaic translation in the Chumash, whenever the Torah uses the word Simcha, uses the word joy, it translates it as Chadi, joy, excitement, happiness, or simcha, because yachad is synonymous. Yachad is very much the same as chadi, as simcha. It brings a certain amount of unique joy when people come together for a Shabbaton or for an event. And more than that, I think it instills joy in each person because it really values and recognizes every single person, what they can offer, their talents, and their participation. What Yachad's all about is not just bringing joy to the Yachad member, they're really bringing their joy, their excitement, their simcha to so many communities that have the privilege to welcome them. And I can think of no better bridge than to say that one of the many, many, many milos, great attributes of Rabbi Kelemer Zecher Livracha, was the unique ability to make every person feel special and to give every single person a lift and give them a truly enhanced form of simcha. And so I think those midos tovos of the many of Rabbi Kelemer Zatzal, who was really, I was the founding Rav, I would say, of Yachad in many ways, and the values of Yachad really are one and the same. It's about recognizing the value of every single person and being able to instill joy in each individual, instilling joy and simcha and happiness in the communities. And I think that's what's the beauty and the strong bridge between us and the Yachad community. And so I want to thank you all for being here tonight. Number one, to recognize that strong bond and for continuing through your simcha, through your joy, and being able to give people a lift and being able to instill the importance of every single person. I think that's the greatest way to give a kavod and tribute to Rabbi Kelemer's neshama, is to continue to be able to do the things that he loved to do and bringing simcha to others and being able to recognize the value and great importance of every single individual. So yashikoach to all of you, like a yichi heydad, right? One of those things, yichi heydad to all of you guys. And enjoy the program tonight. Looking forward to hearing so many awesome stories and insights from all the Yachad members. Thank you so much for being here. Thank you again to Sari.
Thank you, Rabbi Galler. We now have a video from Avi Pollack, who is from West Hempstead, but currently lives in Israel. And he is going to share a few thoughts with us.
Hi, Avi Pollack here. I really wish I could be in West Hempstead right now. Of course, if you can't be in West Hempstead, the next best place to see people from West Hempstead is Beit Shemesh. And that's where I find myself right now, in Beit Shemesh, but feeling very much like I'm a part of this program and so honored to be here with you today. So bittersweet to share some memories about Rabbi Kelemer, Alav HaShalom. It's hard for me to even say those words following his name. And at the same time, remembering the role he played in bringing inclusion to the Jewish community and making that a primary value of the Young Israel of West Hempstead and the Jewish community as a whole in the United States. Spending some time to reflect on that and remember that is so important and so valuable and is so much for us to take forward that I'm glad we have this opportunity. It took a lot of courage in the early 1980s, a lot of courage from a lot of different people, different organizations, and a lot of individual people to make the vision of Yachad come to fruition and to actually happen. In the early 1980s, some very courageous and very visionary people in NCSY, in the OU, in the Young Israel of West Hempstead, on the youth committee of the Young Israel of West Hempstead, and really just individuals and families in the Young Israel of West Hempstead. Apologies for the dog in the background, but that's what happens when you make Aliyah. These people came together and made something truly unique and truly special and truly long-lasting happen in the young Israel of West Hempstead in a winter Shabbos in 1984. And of course, it would have been impossible for those efforts to have resulted in the success that they resulted in. It would have been impossible had they not been done under the supervision and the leadership and the guidance of a true Torah leader, a posek with the highest reputation, someone with great foresight and great insight, and that was Rabbi Kelemer's role in all of this under his leadership. From that point forward, the rest is history. I watched Yachad grow. I was only, 9 or 10 at the time, but I watched Yachad grow through the prism of my sister, Karen, Alea Shalom, who was part of that very first group of Yachad members. And under the leadership of the various leaders who ran Yachad, Karen worked in the Yachad office. She got to know the entire rabbinic leadership world in NCSY, in the OU, and really throughout American Jewry as she traveled around the country speaking for Yachad and speaking for NCSY. And I got to see Yachad grow, and I got to see the beginnings of it in my own hometown community, but to see it grow around the country and around the world, we have a chapter in Beit Shemesh too, has been a lifelong enjoyment and a lifelong hobby to see Yachad continue to flourish. That the chapter in the Young Israel of West Hempstead is named for my sister is the greatest honor for my family, for my mother, Aleha Shalom, who would really have loved to have seen that, for my father, for Chaya, for my whole family. It's really the greatest honor for us as a family. To think a little bit more about Rabbi Kelemer, though, I'm lucky to be one of many young groupies of his who followed him in every way. Even when I was in high school, after certainly coming back from yeshiva after a couple of years in Eretz Yisrael, his groupies really knew and really know still that the most incredible moments with Rabbi Kelemer, where his presence really shined, was in the unscripted moments. Sure, he could give a remarkable drasha, and we would run back after shul, review it with each other, and then Motzei Shabbos take notes so that we wouldn't forget his drushos. Sure, the drushos and the shiurim were the greatest and enjoyed by all. But it was the unscripted moments that were the most memorable. And I just wanted to share some of those. If you were one of those groupies, you know exactly what I'm going to refer to now. It was those moments where sometimes, if I could call them the weaker links in the community, sometimes might have gotten a tough response from a typical congregant, where Rabbi Kelemer knew exactly how to defuse a situation and shine his kindness on that whole moment. During a drasha, Rabbi Kelemer would be giving a drasha, and the community was spellbound, listening so carefully to every word, and then every so often a baby would begin to cry. And everyone would start shushing because the baby was interrupting. And we all remember what Rabbi Kelemer would do at those moments. He would pause, and with that smile that we'll never forget, he would look up into the area where the cry was coming from. And he would say, the beautiful sounds of the next generation of Klal Yisrael. Or, what a beautiful sound. Is there anything more beautiful than a young Jewish neshama calling out to HaKadosh Baruch Hu? And he just knew how to diffuse that moment. That's what he heard at that moment. He wouldn't shush. He wouldn't wait for quiet. That sound was beautiful to him. And the mother or father with the baby would suddenly feel fine. And everybody would realize, oh yeah, that's right. Why were we shushing? That really was beautiful. Waiting in line to say Shavua Tov or Kutvach to him after Shabbos. Right? There were always those people who would come up, and my father, I learned this from my father, Kavod Harav, Shabbos ends, the first thing you do is you walk up to Rabbi Kelemer and you wish him a Shavua Tov, Kutvach. And we'd wait online, and inevitably, because my father is such sparkling midos, he wouldn't push to say Shavua Tov, but we'd sort of remain at the back of the line while everybody else boxed their way in to get a quick Kutvach and run home. my father and I would often end up at the back of the line for a good 10, 12, 15 minutes on a Motzei Shabbos, coming home, certainly after Rabbeinu Tam. Maybe that was part of the calculation. And in retrospect, those were the most priceless moments. I'm so glad we didn't push our way in to say Getvach and leave. Because it was during those moments we watched Rabbi Kelemer, in those unscripted moments, we watched him at his finest. People would come over to say Shavua Tov with their children, and how he handled each child, the glow in his face, the sparkle in his eye, as he said Getvach to the child and asked him what he was doing this week, and the child would report in the sweetest way what he was doing, and Rabbi Kelemer was listening to every word. If somebody would come with their elderly father or mother-in-law to say Shavua Tov, there was Rabbi Kelemer remembering the last time they got together, the last Simcha, remembering their names. Where do you live? With a cute anecdote about that city that they come from, or a Gemara that related to their visit. There was Rabbi Kelemer at those moments, shining brightly. An individual with disabilities, or somebody who was lost, who came in, who didn't belong. It was at those moments that we stood back and watched Rabbi Kelemer handle those people with such grace, with such patience, so calmly, giving everybody the response that they needed. If he had just finished a Gemara shir, inevitably there would be somebody from the women's section who would come down to make a comment on the Gemara, and rather than, making a joke or making a comment, Rabbi Kelemer, way ahead of his years and the time, would speak to them with the utmost respect, like he would any other Talmid Chacham who was coming to speak to him. It was those moments, thank God, my father and I learned to wait in the back of the line and watch Rabbi Kelemer as he dealt with people, and we learned such remarkable lessons from him. How to treat everybody with the highest level of respect. How to see past what's on the outside, the surface, to scratch the surface and go deeper, and to understand so easily, so quickly what a person really needed when they came over. To understand that sometimes people came up with questions just to have a moment with Rabbi Kelemer, just to feel the embrace of his response when you asked him a question, how good he made you feel. Before he'd answer it, he would first build up your question. Even if the people standing there thought the question was silly. Everybody else thought they knew the answer. Rabbi Kelemer would first build up the question, make the questioner feel like $1,000,000, and then respectfully offer a possible solution or a possible answer. These are lessons. This is observing a Talmid Chacham, a tzaddik, in his zone, that I will cherish those moments. And I thank God my father waited at the end of the line so I could observe so many more of those over the years. He embodied Ezehu mechubad hamechabed tabriot. Who is truly honored? One who knows how to honor everyone else. That sums up Rabbi Kelemer. He was the epitome of that Mishnah in Pirkei Avos. He was that role model for myself, so many others who watched him in action during the scripted moments, but especially during the unscripted moments. We will miss those moments forever, but we'll keep them in our minds, and they will continue to teach us lessons for many years to come. Have a wonderful evening. May this be a great schus for the memory of Rabbi Yehuda Kelemer.
Thank you, Avi. We are now going to have a slideshow of a compilation of pictures of Yachad in West Hempstead and many of West Hempstead community members who have been a part of Yachad. Okay, I think we're having some technical difficulties, but we can move on from here. And if we're able to fix it, we could come back to it later. It is an honor to be asking. Oh, no, okay. To ask Nava Gold to share a few words. So if we can please spotlight Nava.
Okay, am I on?
Yes, you're good.
Oh, good. Hi, guys. I'm Nava Gold. Whoever doesn't know me, I'm Nava. I lived in West Hampton for a long time. Hi, Rabbi Galler. Nice to see you. First of all, I've known Rabbi Galler and his brother from Yachad for a long time. His brother has been in seniors for a long time. So thank you, Rabbi Galler. I know Rabbi Kelemer for a long time. As you saw in the picture there, it was me, Rabbi Kelemer, and my first nephew from Israel, who's now 18, probably. And he's been an inspirational to me and everyone in West Hampstead, and we love him, and we will be missing him a lot.
Thank you so much, Nava, for sharing your memories with us. And now we have a video of Mikey Nagler, who will share some thoughts with us as well. No sound.
Resources, so many great inspirational stories that you all took from him. Friends, I know I don't want to take up much of your time, but friends, I know it's been a classic. I know he's gone now for just almost 4 months. We have to do our parts. And then Rabbi Kelemer, Alav Shalom, Myra de Astra, he was such a mensch to all of us, enjoyed his hugs. Whoever, like we came to any of your bris milas, your bar mitzvahs, all of your simchas, you really took inspiration. And I just want to conclude, meditating for maybe the last, probably let's say 35 to 40 minutes or so, that he only took what was meant as a light. He's shining in his presence. He endorsed he uplifted so many of us. And I know that hopefully in the near future, we, the young Israel of West Hempstead, will build a better presence to honor his memory and to build his amazing legacy for many, many years, that he's been the best rabbi that we could ever imagine. And I know that being in the base medrash or the main shul every once a year for those Yachad Shabbatons really gave lots of hope. And that's how we could endorse, being always, all of us being in his presence. And thank you all for listening, and have a good night.
Thank you, Mikey. And now I will turn the floor to Ilana Talit, who will share a few words with us as well.
Yes, I'll be happy to. Rabbi Kelemer was a powerful rabbi and a close family friend. He was a tzaddik. He was always there for me and my family when we needed him. He used to say, call me after 11 p.m. What rabbi is ever available at that hour? He was there for me and my family during the hard times. Like when my dad had 3 surgeries, he used to come and visit and sat with my brother and my mom during his surgery. And I always was in West Hempstead, and I used to say, Rabbi, when are you available to learn with me? He said, how about in 10 minutes from now? He used to speak to my dad all the time, and he said, I want to learn with Ilana. Please tell her to call and schedule with me. I really have never felt close to a rabbi like the way I felt about him. Since he passed away, I speak to Mrs. Kelemer every Friday and every holiday to make sure that she's doing okay and make sure that she's managing. May his soul be with us tonight. And thank you for Rabbi Gal for letting me speak.
Thank you so much, Lana. That was beautiful. Our next and last speaker for tonight is a West Hempstead community member himself, Jonathan Wenger, who in high school was involved in Yachad. I believe he went on Yad B'Yad and other Yachad summer programs, and he will, please God, be staffing Yad B'Yad this summer. And so we'd like to ask Jonathan if he could share a few words with us.
Thank you very much. Bershus, Rabbi Kelemer, thank you again to Sari for asking me to speak. I wanted to share 2 brief ideas, which kind of are seemingly separate, but I think they both go hand in hand. Both as discussed Rabbi Kelemer, I think he embodied both these ideas, but at the same time, it's something that Yachad embodies, and I think the two are so synonymous with each other. Both also indirectly have to do with fire. So a brief idea to start, I don't remember where I heard this idea, but the nice thing about fire is that no matter how much you give, you never lose any of your own. You could transfer fire from one candle to another, but the first candle never loses any of its original flame. It gives and it never loses its own. So I'm going to share 2 brief ideas from this. One actually Rav Avi alluded to in the video from beforehand, but he quoted the Mishnah from Pirkei Avos, that who is the one who is honored? The one that honors others. And the Tiferes Yisrael comments on that Mishnah, saying, what's the reason for this? Why is the person who honors others the one who gets the honor? And the Tiferes Yisrael explains that this is a reward from Hashem. That when you're mechabed everyone, when you respect other people, then you realize that every person is a tzelem Elokim. And when you realize that other people are a tzelem Elokim, the natural way Hashem turns the tables and he gives you the reward that you deserve, that because you have the ability to respect others and view everyone as a tzelem Elokim, that he return gives people to respect you. And the Tiferes Yisrael explains this using the mashal of a candle, that a candle that you are doing by igniting the world ends up shining more in you than in other people because you're spreading so much positivity in the world. That was one brief idea. And the other idea is from Rashi in a couple of parshas from now, Parshas Ba'aloscha, that the first pasuk in that week's parsha said, B'haloscha es haneros, when you light the candles. But the simple question to ask is, why does he use the word B'haloscha? It would make more sense to use the word B'haloscha, that when you light the candles, B'haloscha is a level of rising up. Why? It doesn't seem to make so much sense to use that word in the pasuk. So Rashi explains, quoting a Gemara Masechah Shabbos, that B'haloscha teaches you that it is an expression of rising. When you light a candle, you're supposed to put the candle next to the menorah until it rises on its own, which is a lesson that we could take from here, is that the whole point of the candle is you put it next to something so it rises on its own, so that when you helping with other people, you're supposed to help them until they're able to develop it on their own. So these 2 ideas of respecting everyone and people coming to respect you, and also the idea of supporting people until they're able to achieve it on their own, are 2 ideas that I really think Rabbi Kelemer, Zecher Tzadik Ubracha, and Yachad do so well together. Is that Rabbi Kelemer, regardless of you were the smartest person, you were not so smart, regardless of your religious level, your hashkafa, he respected and treated all people with the utmost respect and care as they deserved. And the same idea goes with Yachad, that we're supposed to treat every person with the utmost respect, regardless of everyone's abilities. And it's something that personally I felt so affected by. A personal story that goes with this is I laned a few times in Youngersville, West Hempstead. I was not an avid laner. I did not lane every week. But there was one time where I did lane in a minyan where Rabbi Kelemer was there. And ever since, until he was nifter, every time I saw him, he always commented on my laning. Even though I barely laned and I don't do such a good job, he always asked me, when's the next time you laning? I want to go to your minyan. And it wasn't one of these fake things, because he did find out of a time that I did lane. And I was laning in a minyan that he was not at that week, but he regardless made the time to come down to hear me lane, to give me a shkoach. That it was such an action that had such an effect on me, that even though he was probably busy with a million other much more important things than hearing a 17, 18-year-old kid lane, but it really had an effect on me, and is something that I take to heart so much. And the other lesson about standing there with people and assisting them until they're able to get it on their own. Again, Rabbi Kelemer was there for me personally during the easy times, during my simchas, and during some of the other challenges that I had. And Yachad also, that they're there for people when there's a good time going on and when there's a more challenging time. And I think if we take these two lessons of respecting others and helping others until they're able to achieve it on their own, I think it would be a huge aliyas neshama to Rabbi Kelemer. And yeah, thank you very much again for allowing me to speak, and his neshama shav and aliyah. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Jonathan, for sharing those beautiful thoughts. I think we'll try to see if that video will play, and if not, we will close. Okay. Thank you everyone who spoke tonight, and for sharing your memories and your thoughts. You spoke beautifully. Thank you everyone for joining us tonight. Thank you again to Gail and Benjamin Ryder and family for generously sponsoring tonight's program. And as Rabbi Galler mentions in the beginning, we always look forward to the West Hempstead Shabbaton. And of course, because of COVID, we haven't been able to have one, but we look forward to, future Shabbatons and future opportunities to partner together and to run programs together. And there are many ways to get involved in Yachad, whether it's through the community or in a personal way. You can get involved in the Karen Polk West Hempstead Yachad chapter or the Greater Yachad through programming, referrals, bar and bat mitzvah projects, donations. So we would love to continue our partnership and for everyone to get involved in whichever way they feel they would like. And the last thing I'll just say is that if anyone has any stories about Rabbi Kelemer and Yachad, we would love to hear them. And so if you can email them to myself or someone else that that works at Yachad, my email is dratch@ou.org. And again, thank you all so much for joining us tonight. And thank you to everyone who spoke so beautifully.